Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Namaskar and greetings of the day to all the students watching this video. I, Twinkle Chandarana, Assistant Professor English, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, welcome all of you in today's lecture. So friends, you might be wondering about the topic to be discussed in today's session. Well, today we are going to discuss an interesting short story in detail, along with its analysis. We will be discussing The Magic Shop by H.G. Wells. To start with one famous quotation by the author himself, I would like to quote him. We all have our time machines, don't we? And those that take us back are memories, and those that carry us forward are the dreams. I unquote, by H.G. Wells. The Magic Shop is a short story by Herbert George Wells, which was first published in the Strand magazine in 1903, and it was subsequently reprinted in 12 Stories and a Dream, again in 1903, and The Country of the Blind and Other Stories, which was in the year 1911. The story is narrated by the father of a young boy named Gip and tells of their visit to a shop selling disturbingly realistic magical illusions and magic toys. Now, before jumping directly upon the story, let us have a look at the biography of the writer himself. So, talking about Herbert George Wells, he was an English novelist, also a journalist, sociologist, and historian, and best known for such science fiction novels as The Time Machine and The War of the Worlds, as well as such comic novels like Tono Bungay and The History of Mr. Polly. He was debatably one of the most prolific writers in the history of literature and wrote works in nearly every genre, including short stories and non-fiction. He was an outspoken socialist, and most of his works contain some notable political or social commentary. Herbert Wells is one of those writers who can really exercise a language in his writing. He uses his vocabulary as a palette with which he paints a scene. Sometimes he describes things in a literal detail, and other times he hints at details in the descriptions. Now, letting your mind fill in the rest. He was one of the greatest late Victorian and early Edwardian science fiction writers, if not the greatest. H.G. Wells wrote a lot of fantasy fiction, almost bordering on magical realism. During his lifetime, however, he was most prominent as a forward-looking, even prophetic social critic who devoted his literary talents to the development of a progressive vision on a global scale. Friends, he was also a futurist. He wrote a number of utopian works and foresaw the advent of aircraft, tanks, space travel, nuclear weapons, satellite television, and something resembling the World Wide Web. His science fiction imagined time travel, alien invasion, invisibility, and biological engineering. Brian Aldiss referred to Wells as the Shakespeare of science fiction. His most notable science fiction works includes The Time Machine, The Island of Dr. Moreau, which was published in 1896, The Invisible Man, which was published in 1897, The War of the Worlds in 1898 and the military science fiction work The War in the Air in 1907. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature 4 times. Let me tell you, friends, The Magic Shop is one such fantasy piece about Gip, a little English boy who wanted his father or daddy to take him into a magic shop they found along their way as they were walking. They did not realize that what they are about to witness in the magic shop will change both their lives forever. It will also indirectly affect them and their magic viewpoints about how they saw magic and how unreal the world seems when genuine magic is performed. Underlying themes of man's existence in this world and the baggage or burdens that he carries with him throughout his life are also present in this short story. The story starts with Gip's father declaring that he had personally seen through the magic shop window several times, but however, he always thought to be it was as somewhere else and not where he had last saw it. This is a bit of a conjuring element that even before the story commences, it already is playing in Gip's father's mind. It clearly indicates to us that magic is the central theme of this short story. We realize that it was not only Gip who was a special boy who could have been inducted into the world of genuine magic, but it was also Gip's father, a grown up little boy who is humble and tender as a person, like his own son, that is Gip. The very essence of the story, The Magic Shop by Herbert George Wells, draws the attention of the reader to the fabulous magic shop, which has all paraphernalia of a genuine magic shop. Minor miracles of wish fulfillment are also worked for the customers of real magic shop. Also, friends, the children are really attracted to this shop, and personally, Gip is readily fascinated by this shop, and through his innocent gestures, he shows his insistence on going into that shop. Also, his birthday is near, so he wants to buy a birthday gift from this shop. And one fine day, they manage to perceive and identify the magic shop situated between the patent incubators and a picture shop. They see it because they are ready to be inducted into the world of magic, both Gip as well as his father. As mentioned several times in the story, this is because they were genuine good souls. They were not proud, they were not arrogant and spoilt like the child Edward, who is mentioned in this story, who could see the magic shop but could not get in. Only pure souls like Gip, with receptivity to magic and its wonders, were allowed into the magic shop. The story's central theme is magic, especially the genuine magic enacted by a true conjurer. Indeed, the magic was too real even for the father of Gip to digest. The two characters have two different standpoints about the shop. The little child Gip has no doubts about the genuineness of the shop, and he is awed by the magical atmosphere that he is enjoying in the shop and being a part of the scene. "Dada," said Gip at last, "that was a proper shop." Though the father, in the end, gets scared and wants to come out of the shop as soon as possible because the boy felt no such desire. The boy enjoyed all the fun there. He liked crystal balls and the rabbit tricks. He also liked the beautiful showroom with all its colorful and fascinating stuff. The man, whom we call the magician in the shop, appears magically behind the counter where no one seemed to be there a moment ago. So, this is really magical. He is in charge of this magic shop and takes center stage in this story as a performer of the most wondrous forms of white magic which is possible, almost equal to a wizard magic. He is a gentle soul and feels one with Gip. Probably he sees the future of yet another magician in Gip's wonderstruck eyes. The magician knew that it was essential for him to not to scare Gip with his magic, but to allure him into its enchanting world so that one day he would take us the profession. We realize this because of how the whole story is crafted, especially the points where the magician keeps on speaking silent, whispering words to Gip. Notice that Gip's father gives his son space to be with the magician, but he is equally possessive of Gip when he realizes that Gip was holding onto the magician's finger in the same way that Gip used to hold on to his father's finger. So, the intention of the story is very clear enough. If a person or child managed to see and enter the magic shop, then that meant he was destined to become a magician or a conjurer in the future time. The story is highly fantastical, with a hint of modernism in its form and structure. It is a feast to the imagination with the elements like glass balls appearing magically from every part of the magician. Also, animals emerging from coat pockets, boxes, and heads like rabbits and pigeons. There are also elements like demons clinging onto the coat sleeves, the noses being drawn out like a telescope and being turned into these red whips. Also, the magician keeps on doing magic by appearing the eggs from nowhere and the packages being packed with a string emerging from the mouth of the magician, etc. and all. The boy Gip is really very much fascinated by all the magicians and his many marvels. However, his father is getting a bit unnerved. He finds the fact that the magic done by the magician is too real and plausible for his taste. Gip's father is a man of the world, and yet he is not of it. He carries the burden of family responsibility and literally and metaphorically his own demons that resides within all of us. That is why the magician says in the text that the demon he picked out like vermin belonged to Gip's father. Gip's father did not realize that demons in this magic shop morph into their original form. When he enters the showroom, the father of Gip is struck with a sense that something odd was going on around him and that he was being watched behind his back or without his knowledge. When humans encounter something that they do not understand or feel that it cannot be enacted because it is not capable of being done by mortals, humans get afraid, and this innate tendency of getting scared by things or events which we do not understand, like real conjuring, is something inherent in our psyche that we have been carrying around in our DNA since the dawning of our basic humanity. The magician is the best and the worst thing that Gip's father felt had ever happened to him. The magician challenges the social norms of what is real and what is unreal, putting Gib and his father into a quandary. Gib's father is even more afraid when he sees the showroom, its peculiar assistants roaming about, and one particular assistant who turned his nose into a telescope. Now, this thing spooked out Gib's father thoroughly. So, when the drum was being put over his son Gib by the magician towards the end of the story, Gib's father thinks he was in a trap by some demons and thought he would lose his son forever. And the son is magically found, and they emerge together on the famous Regent Street of London. Gip is pleased with this day, as if he had merely been taken to watch geese in the park. But it's his father who is really unnerved, horrified, and unsettled. He calls for a hansom cab to go to home, and even 6 or 7 months afterwards, he wonders about the truth and falsehood of what he saw in the magic shop. The father remains unsettled and can do nothing else but tell his story to us, that is, his readers. In the retelling of the magic shop's tale, he seems to be asking us to clarify for him whether what he had seen, including the complete disappearance of the shop for good, was part of reality or something that no man of science would want to talk about. Now, here, the writer, H.G. Wells, was a man of science, but he also had a sort of love hate relationship with religion, with spirituality, and magic throughout his life. So, this is a story which science cannot solve, and neither does Wells, the father of science fiction, wants to solve. Gip is a somber boy with a beautiful heart, a heart of gold. He finds nothing strange or nothing frightening about whatever the magician was doing. He reveled in all that he saw that day. However, to his father, he does seem different after that day. He was a silent, contemplative, and highly secretive boy after his encounter with the magician at the magic shop. His father wonders whether the boy, through some magic power, makes the soldiers in the box come alive, or he is as thrifty as a regular middle class Britisher, yet returns several times to where the magic shop was situated to pay for the 4 parcels given to his son, and these 4 parcels which was handed over with no charge. He tries to make us, as readers, come back to the reality of our world after we have transversed a fist to our senses with the magician's actions and acts. Now, friends, I want to draw your attention to one error in this story. The boy Gip is left with 4 parcels at the end of the story, but in total, he is given 6 parcels while in the magic shop and then in the showroom, which are he was given buy one and astonish your friends box. He was also given the disappearing egg. Also, he was gifted with the crying baby very human box. He was also gifted by the magician with several glass balls and as well as a box of come alive soldiers. And he was also gifted with a live white kitten in a box. Now, the end of the story would make readers a little confused to figure out why the man and his son were the special guests of the magic shop, and the son received his favorite items for free, but not for everyone. Now, was the owner simply a professional magician or a mysterious fairy, a mysterious personality? Moreover, because it's fairly horrifying attraction, this story would be an entertaining story in Halloween nights. Eventually, via the story, readers also would interpret the different visions of adults and children about normal things in the daily life. In the story titled The Magic Shop, we notice that while the magician was taking out streams of colored paper from the father's hat, he gave a bit of a philosophical talk to whoever cared to listen. He indicated the fact about the burdens and baggages of unresolved issues that people carry about with them throughout their life. He wonders about what man perceives himself to be while he blows the paper and makes it a blot in size. With our baggage and tendency to carry the negative side of our past with us, are we fit for anything but the grave? He wonders whether people are nothing at the end of the day but walking tombstones. Now, this is highly indicative of the fact that people were not living life, but they were merely existing. Whereas people like the magician himself and people like the child Gip saw wonder in everything, and they did, and so lived life to the fullest. And they also created magic wherever they went. You might be wondering about the themes which are covered in this story. Now, let us briefly discuss the major themes for better clarity and understanding of the story. Illusion and magic are the two central themes of this story. In the story, the lines between the two are blurred until the end. The best thing about story is the delicate shift from delightful illusion to evil magic. One minute it's all illusionist tricks, balls popping up from unlikely places and toys that move of their own accord. Then slowly the illusions shift to violent, supernatural malevolence. The child sees magic and wonderment, while the father sees dark things by thinking, is this place good or bad? Or is the shopkeeper good or bad? So, friends, moving towards the end of the lecture, we can conclude that this story is indeed a very interesting piece of short story and has the charm to fascinate readers from all the categories and varied interests. Also, it is very Britain in tone to say that the distortions in magic mirrors are described as looking very rum. Young Gip is entranced and his father is amused by the tricks done by the shopman, who eventually takes the place of the father as Gip begins to hold his finger the way he had previously held his father's finger. In essence, The Magic Shop is a story of the seduction of a child by a dark force that slowly pulls him away from the safe haven of his father. The father begins to notice the rumness of the shop and thinks of its contents, that he has a queer feeling and that whenever I was looking at them straight, they went askew. Friends, I hope that all of you would have enjoyed this session. Meet you all in the next section. Till then, thank you.